Hi, it's Mike D at Down Peppertree Lane, and today I have a Hollywood mystery for you. Who Killed Bob Crane? And it's by John Hook. Excellent book that lays it all out. So, this is a real sour lemon of a tale, and I try to keep my channel positive. So, hang with me toward the end, and I will turn it into lemonade and something positive. It's a real cautionary tale that can help all of us. We can learn from this rise and fall of this Hollywood star. So, in the 1950s, he was a popular DJ, very talented voice artist. And then he got on the Donna Reed show, a family comedy, black and white. And he was like the wacky neighbor or what have you. And we're in my loungy garage, by the way. and then he got his own show, Hogan's Heroes, in 1965. It was a war comedy. And from 65 to 71, he was on a hugely popular sitcom that was popular all over the world. Everything was going his way, but he had an addiction to sex and extramarital affairs and one night stands. And as his fame and power grew, so did the addiction. So during the late 60s, a guy came in his life named John Carpenter. And John Carpenter was a wizard in technology and videotaping and editing and cameras. And he got Bob Crane involved in personal videotaping, one of the first people in the US to really do it. And they became buddies and friends, hanging out, chasing women. And they thought it was a good idea to take them home at night and videotape their shenanigans and edit it and watch it over and over and have all of this really dangerous evidence around. You know, Bob Crane was a wholesome family guy with the image. He even made Disney movies. And this was a dangerous game to have affairs with a lot of women who were married, frankly, and keep all this video evidence around. But maybe he got off on the danger of it. And so he and John Carpenter were the really, the crazy twosome running around Hollywood and scoring all these gals. And sometimes Bob was married, sometimes divorced. It didn't really matter to him as the addiction grew. He just had this unquenchable thirst for these affairs that he would videotape. It was his secret addiction. And he had a healthy addiction too, or a hobby, which was drumming. He was an excellent drummer. And he would go to nightclubs and drum at night. It's a shame he couldn't have channeled all of his energy just into that. But he had a dark side. So in 71, the show goes off the air and he loses a lot of his fame and power and starts doing dinner theater, which is a big step down. I mean, people are eating food and steak and lobster during your performance, and it's just not the same. And he did the Disney movies. They were not big successes. They really did not launch him into movie stardom. One was called Gus. You can check that out, about a donkey that kicks field goals in a football game, believe it or not. And he had to play second fiddle to a donkey. And then he had the Bob Crane show. He tried to make a comeback on TV. It was a failure. So he was floundering. And what filled the void for him were these sexual addictions and videotaping of them with his buddy, John Carpenter. So it all came to a head and in 78, and one of his final TV appearances was on a Canadian cooking show. He was supposed to be making a recipe, but he started making sexual comments and he was vulgar and the mask was slipping. I mean, Bob was really losing it during this routine talk show. There's a good movie called Autofocus with Greg Kinnear. Excellent movie about his life, and I believe that scene is in the movie. But the wheels were coming off the bus at the end of his life, and you could see it on this final publicity appearance. And eventually, he was in Phoenix doing a show, the same comedy he had done over and over. He was just running through the numbers of this show so he and John could find some women later at night and videotape him. That's what kept him going. That's what charged his batteries. And basically, he was murdered in his apartment by some sort of heavy, blunt object, maybe a tripod for videotape equipment. He was bludgeoned, and John Carpenter was there that night earlier in the evening, and he was staying nearby, and there was a little bit of blood in his car. But this was in 78, way before the days of DNA and analysis, and unfortunately, they just couldn't tie it to John Carpenter, although he was under heavy suspicion. Now, in the week before, according to this book, Bob Crane had taken him out to a cafe and given him a goodbye kind of talk, saying, look, I know how to operate video cameras now. I know what I'm doing, and we've had a good run, but I need to go solo now. I need to do my own thing. And John Carpenter was crushed and may have had a male crush on Bob Crane, or he just got off on being second fiddle to a celebrity. Either way, he was upset and bitter and jealous, so he probably had a motive to get revenge on Bob Crane. If he's being cast out of his life anyway, why not get revenge and, ruin his life? But they brought him in for one police interview, and Carpenter said, I want a lawyer, and he just shut up and walked out of the room. So they never got to the bottom of it. Carpenter had bad karma. He ended up getting arrested for molesting like a young child. It was horrible, and he went to jail on that, and then he died. And he was under heavy suspicion his whole life. He just had an unpleasant rest of his life. And this Bob's remembered almost more for the gruesome death, unfortunately, but hopefully people will honor him for his work. Hogan's Heroes was a classic comedy. So the lesson to be learned from this is that Bob did not do a wellness check on himself and realize, hey, my addiction is spinning out of control. And what we can do is look at our lives and see if any sort of addiction is overtaking us or we are escaping into it to hide. And a lot of addictions now are based on technology. Like maybe you were playing video poker at home for 6 hours a day in some online casino. Or maybe you're addicted to 6 or 7 cups of coffee a day and you have to have it to function. It's not even enjoyable anymore. It's just a way that you desperately need to function. Or maybe you cannot just have 1 or 2 drinks of alcohol at a party. You have to get hammered and have 6 or 7. So the lesson to take away is that Bob really did not seek help for his spiraling addiction to pornography, basically. And he took it all the way with starring in his own porn movies with a lot of married women. It could have been a jealous husband who did him in. That's an outside possibility as well. He was playing with fire for years and it burned him. Finally, it burned him. So it's just a good lesson to check our own lives. Do we have a fire burning in our own life? It's good to keep a journal, to do meditation, to do self-reflection, to take a walk in nature, Look at our lives. Our fire is burning. Are we addicted to nasty and negative, gossipy people that we need to remove from our lives? Or toxic relatives we need to really stop engaging so much in? Or really horrible, you know, dark, negative, energetic things? It could be anything. So that's kind of my what I take away from his life is to make sure that you don't fall into addictions and do a lot of self awareness and self care and checking in with yourself to make sure that you are on a stable path. And I hope you've enjoyed some of the vintage furniture. I've turned my garage into a lounge, and I have a video on that. And Bob Crane is the Hollywood legend we're digging into today. Check out my work at downpeppertreelane.com and buy my cool vintage items there, collectibles, and like and subscribe. Thank you guys. Take care. Bye.